Ever had those customers who just aren't giving you a lot of information when you question them? Maybe one or two words or a brief statement, but none of the juicy stuff, none of the stuff that's going to help you understand their pain or position your product or eventually sell against. Well, there's a couple of techniques that we can use to really open the customer up and make them give us more information. And the two things we're going to talk about are commands and probing. We'll start with commands. Believe it or not, the brain is incredibly susceptible to commands. Often if you tell someone to do something, they'll do it. Think about advertising campaigns. Nike don't say, oh, excuse me, do you mind taking the time to just do it? They say, just do it. McDonald's don't ask you the question, are you loving it? They tell you, you're loving it, right? So we can use commands as a way of getting more information out of customers. And a command looks a little something like this. Tell me how you're doing this at the moment. Explain to me why you're doing that. Go into a bit more detail for me around this. Now again, what you'll find is if a customer isn't initially opening up with your questions, change tact. Don't stick with questioning, move into commands. We have to be a bit careful because it can sound quite abrupt or intrusive or even a bit curt. So we need to position it in the right way. Now where salespeople go wrong is they put the word can in front of it and then it turns into a closed question and it also makes you sound subservient to the client. So it sounds a little something like this. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? Can you go into a bit more detail for me? Now think about the way you're positioning that question. You're asking for permission. And customers don't like you asking for permission. Buyers like to be led. They like you to take control of the situation. They like to feel they're in a really safe pair of hands. So give those a go. Tell me a bit more about this. Go into a bit more detail for me on that. Explain that a little bit more for me and see what the customer comes up with. These are also known as probes or probing questions or probing in general. The reason we use that term is because if you think about a questioning funnel, it's deliberately designed to start quite broad and then get narrower, 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 narrower until a need or a pain drops out the bottom of it. Now, when you're in the middle of that funnel, or even if you're quite high up the funnel, you can be having a conversation that isn't really going anywhere, or the answer the customer's giving you isn't really specific or important enough for you to talk about because you're not understanding their pain or their need, or it's not leading you where you need to get to, which is understanding the troubles that they're having. So we can use those probes in a way to, again, engage the customer, bring them onto a different topic and go deeper into that questioning funnel. So if you've got a customer who's telling you about their objectives and what they're trying to achieve and some of the challenges they're having and they're going off topic a little bit, you can bring it back and say, I want to talk about something you mentioned earlier. Tell me more about those targets. Tell me more about that problem you're having with XYZ and XYZ. Go into a little bit more detail around the challenge you're having about market penetration, whatever that is that you're talking about. And you can use those probes of really taking it a layer deeper, those second and third, fourth types of questions that we can ask to really get under the skin with the questioning. Give these techniques a go. Don't forget to subscribe in the bottom corner. Give it a like. Give us a comment if you're having some success with some of these techniques, or if you've got any questions, let us know and we can start a topic of discussion. Thanks a lot, guys. Hopefully you're getting some value from this, and don't forget, happy selling.